Okay, good morning everyone. Today's shir is dedicated Lila Nishmas, Rabbi Yehuda ben Rabbi Avram, Rabbi Yehuda Weinberg, who we consider one of the founding fathers of the shul when we first started. The first stender that we used when we started in the house, 638 Oakland, Rabbi Yehuda got for us, and he was very dear to me and to the Beis HaKnesses. On this occasion, we wish the whole Mishpachas Weinberg that Rabbi Yehuda ben Avram is a Shamash Shav and Aliyah, Shvil Me'el Yosher for the whole family, for the Surais Tovai, Simchas Nachas, Parnasa Berevach, Ad Bias Gold Tzadak. Okay, today we're going to talk about Chodesh Iyar. Chodesh Iyar. The Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos, Daf Kuf Mem Vav Amud Beis, Kulhu Shakyani Midivcha V'Yad Atzarta. All elixirs are beneficial between Pesach and Shavuos. If you need to take medicine, the best time to take it is between Pesach and Shavuos. It's a very mysterious Gemara. What does that mean? All elixirs are beneficial from Pesach until Shavuos. Chassam Sofer writes, Hainu Chodesh Iyar. That is the month of Iyar. Iyar is the month of refuah. Let's say you have an ailment. Iyar is a month of refuah. Why? Iyar is Rosh Tevos, Ani Hashem Reifecha. I am Hashem, your doctor. Hashem is the best doctor. He takes all insurance. There's no waiting line. There are no side effects. Ani Hashem Reifecha. Rosh Tevos Iyar. Now, according to that, Iyar would be spelled with how many yuds? One yud. However, there's another Rosh Tevos, the Chassam Sofer says. And that is starting not tomorrow, not Tuesday, but Wednesday, we're going to do something, and I know you're not looking forward to it. We're going to start saying Tachnon on Wednesday, okay? And in Tachnon, which is a parak of Tehillim, you know, Tachnon, the Tachnon of Ashkenazim is the 6th parak of Tehillim, which is very interesting. The 6th parak of Tehillim. Tachnon ends, Oyevoi Yashuvu Yevaishu Raga. Rosh Tevos Iyar. But there, Iyar is spelled with 2 yuds. Oyevai Yashuvu Yevaishu Raga. Oyevai Yashuvu Yevaishu Raga. There, Iyar is spelled with 2 yuds. Why? Because that mizmar, why would Iyar be merumaz and Tachnon? Yeah? So I would say because Iyar is the start of Tachnon, the kickoff of Tachnon is Iyar. You know, we haven't said Tachnon. By the time Iyar comes, we haven't said Tachnon for, like 32, 33 days. So Iyar is like the kickoff of Tachnon. So the remez to Iyar is in Tachnon. But there, Iyar is spelled with 2 yuds. So it's a little bit of a dilemma. Do you spell... By the way, another thing is, why is Iyar merumaz in Tachnon? Chassam Sofer says, because Tachnon is about being healed from illness. What does Tachnon talk about? Talk about David HaMelech was sick, and not Rifa'ini Hashem, Kinevalu Out Samai. So since Tachnon talks about Refuah, there's a remez to Iyar. So basically we have 2 remezim to Iyar in Tanakh. One is Ani Hashem Reifecha, and one is Oyevai Yashuvu Yevosh Raga. One remez has Iyar with 1 yud, one remez has Iyar with 2 yuds. It's Merumaz and Tachnon. Chassam Sofer says because Tachnon is about Refuah. We're saying because Tachnon is the kickoff of Iyar is the kickoff of the season of Tachnon. So let's talk a little bit about Chodesh Iyar. So first of all, Chodesh Iyar is a month to buy new Sfarim. So for example, there are a lot of new Sfarim that you could get for Chodesh Iyar. Pesach Sheni, Rabbi Meir, Balanes, and the Eternal Children of Hashem, available at Art Scroll. You could get Lashon Kodesh, Ela Kademer Anini. And also, this year, hopefully, we're going to have a nice Lag BaOmer event. Yeah? You could get the fire and the soul. Okay, no, but that was just free commercial time. Okay? But we're going to talk about Chodesh Iyar. You have the Miriam in front of you. We know that every month of the Jewish calendar has a special permutation of the Shem Havaya. we know the permutation of the Shem Havaya of Chodesh Nisan is what? Yismachu Hashamayim v'sagel haaretz. In order. Yismachu Hashamayim v'sagel haaretz. And the Shevet associated with Chodesh Nisan is, according to most, Eruvin. That's if you count the months according to the birth of the Shvatim. The Megal Amukoi says that, the Maharal says that, the Ravid says that, but many say, and the Bnei Yissaschar brings the way they traveled, Yehuda came first, so Shevet Yehuda is for Chodesh Nisan. How about Chodesh Iyar? Which Shevet corresponds to Iyar? So again, according to the way the Shvatim were born, Iyar would be Shemain. Iyar would be Shemain. Iyar is the second month, Iyar would be Shemain. However, according to the way they traveled, it would be Yisachar. Okay? And maybe we'll talk about that. What is the permutation of the Shem Havaya of Chodesh Iyar? Yud, then a Hey, then a Hey, then a Vav. And the pasuk that has the Shem Havaya spelled out that way is Al Zayis Yishalel HaMishalel Haskel V'yadayaisi Al Zayis Yishalel HaMishalel Haskel V'yadaya. Yud, then a Hey, then a Hey, then a Vav. Now, we know that there are two kinds of tefillin. There's tefillin of Rashi, and there's tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam. We once mentioned this. The tefillin of Rashi, the order of the parshios are the Shem Havaya Kisidron, Yud Kei Vav Kei. In the order of Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, the order of the parshios are Yud, then Hey, then Vav, which is the month of Iyar. So Nisan is Rashi tefillin, and Iyar is Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Okay, what are we going to do with this? Let's proceed. We know that every month is associated with a particular letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So, the month of Iyar, Himlich Ois Vav. Vav. The month of Vav. This is the month of Vav. Now, what does that mean? It's the month of Vav. What is the purpose of a Vav? A Vav is a Vav HaChibor. It attaches. That's what Iyar is. Iyar attaches Nisan Yitzias Mitzrayim to Kabbalas HaTorah, which is Sivan. You know, the purpose of Yitzias Mitzrayim was that Hashem should give us the Torah. V'zelecha ha'ois, v'hoitziacha mi Mitzrayim, tavdun es holikim ala harazeh. The whole purpose of Yitzias Mitzrayim was Kabbalas HaTorah. That's why we count Sfira. We're connecting Yitzias Mitzrayim with Kabbalas HaTorah. So the month of Iyar is a Chodesh HaChibor. It attaches Nisan to Sivan. So therefore it's created with the letter Vav. It's created with the letter Vav. What's interesting is, it's also the month of Tachnun. Which perek of Tehillim is Tachnun? Vav. Right? So Iyar is the month of Tachnun. Iyar is Merumaz in Tachnun. Iyar is when we start Tachnun up again. You know, the inauguration of Tachnun for the years in Chodesh Iyar. So Tachnun for Ashkenazim is Perek Vav. However, for Sfardim, they do not say Perek Vav. They say Perek Chaf Hey. They say Perek Chaf Hey. What's interesting is, in Perek Chaf Hey, which by the way is the real Tachnun, Ashkenazim say fake Tachnun. It's not really Tachnun. But the thing is, Sfardim don't say it right. We say it right, but we say the wrong thing. Sfardim say the right thing, but they don't say it right. So you're supposed to put your head down. So the thing is, the Zayar says that if you say Tachnun without full kavanah, you're liable to very severe penalty. So everyone's afraid to do the real thing. So Ashkenazim say, we don't say Tachnun. We never say it, ever. We don't say Tachnun. Sfardim just don't put their head down. This way nobody says Tachnun, and nobody has to worry about not saying Tachnun but Kavanah. But what's interesting is Perek Chafei of Tehillim is the reason why it's so important to have Kavanah when you say Tachnun is because Kavanah, the purpose of Tachnun is you're offering to give your life al Kiddush Hashem. You do that 2 times in davening, once by Kriya Shema and one in Tachnun. In fact, Abir Yaakov says, Teru Ma'isai Trei Maves. It's a reference to you give up your life twice in davening, once in Shema and once in Tachnun. If you say to Hashem, I would give up my life al Kiddush Hashem, and you don't really mean it, that's That's disingenuous. What's amazing is in Perek Chav Hei of Tehillim, you have every single letter of the Aleph Beis represented. Eilecha Hashem nafshi asa. B'cha v'tachti. Gam kol koivecha. Derachecha Hashem. Hoidieni. Zechor rachamecha. It skips a vav. There's no vav in the real Tachna in Perek Chav Hei of Tehillim. And the Zohar asks, quoted by the Beis Yosef, why is there no vav in Tachnon? And the Zohar says, vav is the letter of life. The vav is the ois hachayim. When Cain killed Hevel, and now Cain was afraid that his life was in danger, Hashem carved out for him on his forehead a letter of life. What letter did Hashem carve out? The letter Vav. So since the purpose of Tachnon is to give up your life, al Kiddush Hashem, to give up your life, it can't have the letter Vav. So what's interesting is that Ashkenazim for Tachnon say Perek Vav, Svardim say Perek Chav Hei that doesn't have a Vav, but there's a very fundamental connection between Tachnon and being Moiser Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. We do it in Chodesh Iyar. Iyar is the month of good health, right? Says the Chassam Sofer, you know why all elixirs are beneficial in Iyar? Because Iyar is the month of good health. Ani Hashem Reifecha, it's the month of life. It's the month of the letter Vav. Okay. Now, if Iyar is the letter Vav, where does health come from? The Rambam says almost all health problems come from imbalanced eating. All 99 out of 100 ailments come from achila, eating. You know? Sometimes food is not pure, not clean, not nutritious. Most food today is just chemicals, doesn't provide too much nutrition. In any event, most of one's health is dependent on their food. What happened in Chodesh Iyar? So in one of the things that happened on Lag BaOmer is the man fell. The man fell on Lag BaOmer for the first time. So the man is pure food, is healthy food. So therefore Iyar is the month of good health because it's the month that the man began to fall. Now who remembers what is this month called in Tanakh? Chodesh Ziv. Chodesh Ziv. Remember that expression? In Melachim Aleph, Perek Vav, Pasuk Aleph. It's Chodesh Ziv. Now, the month of Iyar was created with the letter Vav. The month of Sivan was created with the letter Zayin. So therefore, it's Chodesh Ziv. It's the month that prepares us for Chodesh Zayin, which is Chodesh Sivan. Okay, take a look in Ois Hey in the Bnei Yissaschar. Here's another Rashi Tevis of Iyar. So far we learned Iyar is Rashi Tevis, Ani Hashem Reifecha. Iyar is Rashi Tevis, Oyevai Yashuvu Yevaishu Raga. You know what else Iyar is Rashi Tevis? Darshe Rishumais. Say Iyar is Rashi Tevis, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rachel. Now, what happened to Leah? What happened to Sarah? What happened to Rivka? So you could have said, what do you mean? Rivka is also, the Reish is also Rivka. No, it's Rachel. So why do we especially point out Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Rachel? Why dafka those four? I understand if you want to put in Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, but now dafka Rachel. Why dafka Rachel? What's interesting is, he says that this month is a hachana for Torah. And hachana for Torah is midos. We know that derech eretz kadma l'Torah. You need midos tovos to learn Torah. So therefore the month that precedes Kabbalas HaTorah is the month of the avos, namely Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rachel. Yeah, but what about Sarah and Rivka and Leah? Now we know there are only 3 avos. What's the definition of an av? An av is a patriarch. We all come from Avraham, we all come from Yitzchak, we all come from Yaakov. Do we all come from the imahos? We all come from Sarah, we all come from Rivka, we all come from Leah. Do we all come from Leah? Not every Jew comes from Leah, and certainly not every Jew comes from Rachel. But there's an idea that every single Jew comes from Yosef. The Gemara says that if you're afraid of ayin hara, you should say, Ana mizara de Yosef kasina, I come from the descendants of Yosef. What do you mean come from Yosef? None of us come from Yosef. But Yosef was the one who fed us in Mitzrayim. Yosef hu amashbir. So he fed us, we could trace ourselves back to Yosef. And therefore, what? He's the tzaddik, right? He supported the whole world. So in a sense, the same way that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are the patriarchs of all Jews, Rachel also is considered a patriarch in that sense. Anyway, Chodesh Iyar is the month of the Avos. Abraham. Yeah, they come from everyone. They come from Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. They come from Rachel, because they come from Yosef, and they come from Leah through Dinah. Yeah. Now Iyar is gematria 221. The gematria of Aleph, Reish, Chaf, like Erech. Erech means refuah, like in Nusach Sfard in Rafa'inu. Don't you say V'halei Arucha? What does it mean V'halei Arucha? What's Arucha? Arucha is refuah. The gematria of Iyar is Erech. Now, another thing. The month of Iyar, the mun fell. You know what we also got in this month? The Be'er. If you look in Seder Olam Rabbah, the Be'er of Miriam began to flow in this month. This month is a hachana for Kabbalas HaTorah. Now, you all know the story that the Arizal and Reb Chaim Vital were once rowing on a boat. Row, row. You think it's a simple song. They were rowing. Who knows, where were they rowing? They were rowing on the Kinneret. They were in the Galilee Sea. And the Arizal said, stop! And Arizal saw some bubbling, and he said, right over there, Be'er Shel Miriam. He took out a cup, he gave it to Reb Chaim Vital to drink, and from then on, it opened up the mind of Reb Chaim Vital. So what do we see from here? Be'er Shel Miriam is a hachana for Yedias HaTorah. So when did we get the Be'er? We got it in Chodesh Iyar, because Chodesh Iyar is the month of Ziv, the Vav, preparing for the Zayin. Agavurcha, there's a famous question. We have a Yom Tov to commemorate Anani HaKavod. We don't have a Yom Tov to commemorate the Be'er. We don't have a Yom Tov to commemorate the Man. Why? So maybe the Man, you'll say, Lag BaOmer is commemorating the Man. But what about the Be'er? Why don't we have a Yom Tov to commemorate the Be'er? We gave many answers over the years. The Chidah brings at least 3 answers. We're about to learn a new answer. It says like this: Laman tizkar es yoim tzeischa me'eretz Mitzrayim kol yimei chayecha. You need to remember the day you left Egypt, all the days of your life. So any benefit that God gave us when we left Egypt, we have to remember. When we left Egypt, He gave us Anani HaKavod. So we have to remember that. But He didn't give us the Be'er when we left Egypt. He gave us the Be'er in Iyar. He gave us the Man in Iyar. We only have to remember things that happened Yom Tzeischa Me'eretz Mitzrayim. You know what else happened in Iyar? Melchemes Amalek. Vayavai Amalek Vayilachem Im Yisrael Berfidim. Why? Because since this month is Mesugal as a preparation for Yedias HaTorah, so Amalek comes and he fights with us Berafidim when we slacken off in Yedias HaTorah. Now, we mentioned that according to many opinions, the name of this month is, the Shevet of this month is Yisachar, according to the way we traveled, or Shimon, according to the way they were born. Rabbi Yonasan Eibishter says the month of Iyar is the month of Binyamin. Interesting, the first Beis Hamikdash, they began to build the first Beis Hamikdash in Chodesh Iyar. And so we could say that's the connection to Shevet Binyamin. We know the Beis Hamikdash is built in the share of Shevet Binyamin. Also, the Bnei Yissaschar mentions that the tachlis of Chodesh Iyar is for Yedias HaTorah. And we know Yedias HaTorah brings to Avodas Hashem, like it says, Da es Elokei Avicha ve'avdehu. Friends, bottom line is that there are 3 Roshei Tevos of Iyar. One is Ani Hashem Roifecha, so Hashem should be Mavarich everyone with refuah. Hashem should heal all your coughs, all your respiratory, digestive issues. Hashem should heal. Iyar is a Chodesh of the Avos. Hashem should be Mavarich us, Barchenu, Babracham, of the Avos HaKadoshim. It's Roshei Tevos Oyeva Yashuvu Yevoshu Raga. Hashem should protect us from all our enemies and be Mavarich everyone with a Chodesh Toiva Umevayrechas. The Shem Havaya associated with it is Yud, then a Hey, then a Hey, then a Vav. Rabbi say, Agun Chodesh, have a great day.